Joining us on the show today, Tuhins, national spokesperson of the BJP, Anmol Panwar of the Aam Aadmi Party. Also with me, Satyendra Singh is former Deputy Director of the Enforcement Directorate. I do thank you for your time. Anmol, I begin with you. Virtually every argument you have made politically has fallen flat in court. These are not legal arguments and they clearly did not work in favor of Arvind Kejriwal. But because you haven't managed to get a relief or even a semblance of some sort of sympathy from the court as far as this arrest is concerned, it just goes on to say that it goes on to show that these arguments will work politically only as much.
I disagree with you, Shivani, because similar arguments were raised when the bail of Mr. Sanjay Singh was heard on 7th of February 2024. But when the matter reached the Honourable Supreme Court on 2nd of March 2024, the Honourable Supreme Court demolished the entire case and it clearly made some very startling observations that not a single penny has been recovered and there's no trace of proceeds of money. And if the Enforcement Directorate still fights the case on merits, then the Honourable Supreme Court has to make some serious observations as per the mandate of Section 46 of the PMLA Act, stating that even prima facie no offence has been made. And as far as this case is concerned, we respect the institution, but we disagree with the order passed by the Honourable Delhi High Court. There's existence of different levels of judiciary in India to ensure that if a mistake is committed by a lower court, then the higher court can step in and correct that mistake.
No, fair enough. So of course, you will have the right to take this to the Supreme Court. And I think Saurabh Bhardwaj or somebody else from your party did say that you're going to do that as quickly as possible. Jasmine Shah has said that as quickly as possible, possibly even today, tomorrow. So all of that is fine. But aren't you confusing Sanjay Singh's case with Arvind Kejriwal's case? The sections applied against them are a little bit different. Their liability, what they're being accused of is entirely different. Sanjay Singh's main case is that he was given in cash parts of those proceeds of crime or bribe or kickback. That's not the charge against Arvind Kejriwal. The charge against Kejriwal is that he is the kingpin of this conspiracy.
Shivani, it's been more than 2 years. And ED is still fishing for evidence. Not a single penny has been recovered despite 500 raids and 1,000 witnesses and a 50,000 page charge sheet. And let me tell you, it's very relevant. The order dated 30th October 2023. Let me read out paragraph 12, which says that Enforcement Directorate is not even aware about the law because Section 70 cannot arise at all. It is specifically for the companies. And
yes,
when AAP is registered under Representation of People Act,
once again, you're going back on a different order, but the court order today. Let's discuss the court order today, Anmol. You say that not a penny has been recovered. Now the ED has already made an argument in court that all of that money has been spent. But remember, the court today has said in its order that the trail, we've seen the documents, we've seen the statements and the trail has been established. I know this is prima facie and I know this is not the trial, but this is an admission by the court.
Not at all, Shivani. Let me tell you why this case is zero. Because at times when it becomes almost impossible to obtain evidence, it is at that point of time when there is dearth of evidence, when there is lack of evidence, and this is a classic case wherein after 2 years of investigation, when there was no evidence, then the 4 approvers, they enters the scene at this point, and one of them was threatened and coerced, P. Sharad Reddy. Who gave 60 crore rupees to the BJP. The other approvers.
No, I know. We've been through this. The court has gone into that argument that the Aam Aadmi Party has placed today. They've said you'll have an appropriate opportunity to question those statements, but you cannot question the very concept of an approver. And if an approver was given pardon or not, or in some cases bail or not, that's a judicial process, not an ED process. But I will grant this much, that yes, if the ED does not oppose a certain individual's bail, then it becomes easier for them to get bail, which was the case in Sanjay Singh's case as well. I'll park that. But Tuhins, how do you respond to the fact that this is just the Delhi High Court? The Supreme Court could have a differing opinion. It has happened before and it could happen again.
What do you mean? First of all, Shivani, a very happy Chaitra Navratri to you, to the co-panelists and to the viewers. What do they mean it is just the Delhi High Court? As you very rightly pointed out, the charges, are different against Arvind Kejriwal and Sanjay Singh. There is a difference between key conspirator, the kingpin and a collaborator. So I think this difference should be very clear in the minds of Aam Aadmi Party. Now the point is, today's observations of the High Court was so scathing, was so ruthless, that it should be a reality, it should serve as a reality check for the Aam Aadmi Party. It vindicates the ED action, and some of the observations, as you pointed out, it very clearly says that it is not for the ED but for the courts to decide whether an approval should be granted. Should be granted pardon.
Rest.
Number two, it upholds or it validates the sections of the PMLA imposed against Arvind Kejriwal, and most importantly, it very clearly says that there is evidence of Arvind Kejriwal being involved in the conspiracy and that of ED being in possession of adequate substance. Now, the Aam Aadmi Party has this habit of constantly bringing in, but where is the money trail? I am telling you, let's take an imaginary situation. Today, tomorrow, even if a money trail, I'm giving you an imaginary situation, is not established. If money laundering is conclusively established, then the case stands the way it is. There are cases where a murder happens, but the body is not discovered because the criminal is too clever or is too sly to dispose of the dead body. Even in those cases, prosecution goes ahead and conviction has happened. This could be a similar case, but ED action today stands completely justified by the ruling of the High Court, and it is time for Aam Aadmi Party to introspect, because it's clearly endgame Kejriwal and party.
I'll come